All right, so we just finished significant figures, calculations involving significant figures. Now we're going to go on and talk about units of measurement, and then we're going to talk about some prefixes and converting between those prefixes. So what good is a number without a unit? For instance, if somebody asks, how much blood has an accident victim lost? And you just say 3. It could be 3 drops. It could be 3 milliliters. It could be 3 liters. The differences would be could be potentially astounding. You know, if your patient's lost 3 liters of blood, then you have an emergency in your hands, versus if you have a patient who's lost 3 drops of blood, not so much. So units really are important, especially in science. And it's one of those things that you kind of have to get accustomed to this climate. When you see a number, it should have a unit after that. So it should be one of those things like something's not right, there's not a unit on that. So there are many different units that can be used to express the physical quantity. There is a system that has been agreed upon because, you know, think about this. If one scientist in Germany used certain units versus one scientist in Kansas used other units versus a scientist in Canada, it would be hard to communicate. So to make this easier, scientists have agreed upon a system of standard units, the SI units. SI stands for the System International Day Units. So mass, the SI unit is the kilogram. And that's abbreviated lowercase k, lowercase g. The metric unit is the gram, and that's abbreviated g. The equivalent is 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. Now here in the United States, we don't use the SI units or the metric units, we just use the imperial units, and we're one of 3 countries that still use the imperial units. At some point we might switch over, but right now we have our own special units. Now, when I say equivalent, this can sometimes be regarded as a conversion factor. We'll get into conversions in the next unit or the next lecture. We're going to do a little bit of conversions here too, but all right, length. The SI unit is the meter as well as the metric unit. The abbreviation for meter is a lowercase m. And you might think I'm nuts for saying lowercase and uppercase, but it is very important, especially when we get into prefixes. Okay, so the equivalent of 1 meter equals 3.280 feet. Okay, volume is length times width times height. The SI unit is the cubic meter, which is m cubed. The metric unit is the liter. And the abbreviation for that is capital L. And 1 cubic meter is equivalent to 1,000 liters. Temperature, the SI unit is Kelvin. The metric unit is the Celsius degree. One Kelvin is equivalent to 1 degree Celsius. For time, both the SI and metric units are the same, second, lowercase s. Okay, so that brings us to the distinction between mass and weight. Mass is the amount of matter present in an object. And grams. Weight is the gravitational pull on an object. So that is a force. Now, on the next page, I have some prefixes. Why do I have these prefixes? Well, sometimes problems can arise when units are too large or too small to express a quantity reasonably. To alleviate this problem, SI and metric units can be modified using prefix multipliers. So think of it as a way, like if you find yourself using too many zeros, whether you have a 1 billion and you have a lot of zeros in front of the decimal, or you have a lot of zeros after the decimal, 0.00006578. This would be a case when using prefix multipliers would be good. So we have these prefix multipliers for Chem 100 and Chem 122, which is Chem 122's Principles of Chemistry. These are the prefix multipliers you need to memorize. Now, when you go on to Chem 124, you might need to memorize a few more, but by and large, these are going to be your prefix multipliers and then a few more, so this will help you. Okay, so the prefix multiplier mega is capital M. It is the base unit is multiplied by 10 to the 6, or 1 million. The example is 12 megameters. Okay, kilo is a prefix multiplier that also is a larger prefix multiplier like mega. So it's a lowercase k. The base unit is multiplied by 10 to the 3rd, or 1,000. An example is 3 kilograms. Deci is a prefix multiplier that's smaller than mega or kilo. So it's lowercase d, and it is multiplied by 0.1, a tenth, or 10 to the negative 1. 4 decimeters would be an example. Centi is the next one. That's multiplied by a hundredth, or 10 to the negative 2nd. 8 centiliters. Now notice, when I use these prefix multipliers, now I have 2 letters after my measurement. Whereas when I use these units, like gram and meter, liter, my base units, they just have 1 letter abbreviations. So something that's important to keep in mind. We'll see some practice problems coming up with that. Okay, milli is lowercase m. You multiply by 1,000th, or 10 to the negative 3rd, 10 millimeters. And if you're ever curious what a millimeter is, because I'm always trying to get you to think about science outside of your classes, a millimeter is pretty small. The thickness of a dime is about 1 millimeter. Okay, micro is a funny mu symbol. It's like a U with a tail on the front end. And 10 to the negative 6 is the multiplier, or 0.000001, and 8 micrograms. All right, nano is the last prefix multiplier and also the smallest. So it's a lowercase n, 10 to the negative 9, and you're going to have 8 zeros after the decimal. 2, 4, 6, 8. Good. Now, I have what prefixes could be used to describe the following quantities. This is a perfect example of why we use prefix multipliers, because that's a lot of zeros. So what I encourage you to do is to express these in scientific notation. So remember, scientific notation, you're going to have to move the decimal, so we want to get this 2 here. We're going to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 times 10 to the negative 6. And then what you're going to do is look for a prefix multiplier that's the same magnitude roughly. And that leads us to micro. So 10 to the negative 6. So instead of using all those zeros, you could just say 2 micrometers. All right, let's do the same thing here. 6 million grams. So I'm going to put it in scientific notation. 6 times, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 10 to the 6th. All right, what prefix multiplier has the same magnitude as that? Looks like mega. So it's going to be 6 megagrams. Now, if you're getting nervous about converting these between each other, megagrams to megagrams, meters to micrometers, I have a system that has been pretty successful in helping students. So on the next page, I have a prefix ladder. And I have taught prefixes many different ways. I've taught them as conversion factors. I've tried all sorts of things. But the one thing that has worked best for my students is this prefix ladder. And the way it works is you're going to put in the prefix multipliers: mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. And then I'll show you how to use this. So mega is our largest prefix multiplier. It goes on the far left. And I'm going to put the number 6 because if you look at this page, mega is 10 to the 6th. Okay, then I'm going to put kilo, which is the abbreviation is lowercase k, and I'm going to put 3. Then there's the basic unit. Now, the basic unit can be anything. It could be meters. It could be grams. It could be liters. It could be seconds. So the basic unit is the second letter in your abbreviation. So for instance, if you have kilograms, grams is your base unit. Okay, so after our basic unit on this prefix ladder, we put the smaller prefix multipliers. So we go deci, which is 1. Now you might be saying, hey, it's -1. Yes, I know it's -1. But the way we're putting this on the prefix ladder kind of takes care of the negative and the positive, the way we have it arranged. So just hang with me, and I'll show you how to use this. Okay, so deci, then centi, then milli, then micro. Now careful, micro is not 4, it's 6. And then nano. And again, careful because nano is not 7, it's 9. Okay, so now, what is she talking about? I have instructions. To convert to a larger unit, move the decimal point to the left or divide. To convert to a smaller unit, move the decimal point to the right or multiply. So if you look at this example, 1,000 milligrams to grams. So right now, I'm starting off in milli. So on the ladder, I'm at milli. And I want to get to grams. So grams isn't a prefix, it's a basic unit. So in order to make this conversion, I'm going to go 3 to the, in which direction is my pen going? It's going to the left. So I'm going to move the decimal 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. Now, you knew before that 1,000 only had one significant figure, right? Because you know your significant figure rules so well. So this is just going to be 1 gram. Okay, the next question, 1 liter to milliliters. So I'm starting off. Where am I starting off? That's the first question to ask yourself with these prefix conversions. I'm starting at the basic unit. I am trying to get to milli. So I'm going to go 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so the third question. I'm going from centimeters, centi, to millimeters. Now, these numbers that I have right here, 6, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, these are all relative to the basic unit. So what does that mean? That means that in order to get to the basic unit, whatever number it is, you're going to move to the left or the right. Now, I don't have these relative to each other, but you can figure it out very quickly. So with this question, you can do it 2 ways. And a lot of times in chemistry or science problems, there are many ways to do the problem. And it's as long as you get the correct answer, you know, you're doing it the correct way. So for this conversion, I can go from centimeters to meters, and then from meters to millimeters. So that's 2 steps. And then here. Or I can go from centimeters directly to millimeters. If I do that, I just need to take the difference. So centi is 2, milli is 3. I am just going to take the difference between these two. So I'm going to say 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So in order to get from centi to milli, I'm going to go 1 to the right. Okay? So my decimal is currently right here. It's not explicitly written. I'm going to move 1 to the right, and I'll get 1,600 millimeters. Now, one thing you should try to do with these, and I know you might be overwhelmed with a lot of this, is to think about this. Is a centimeter bigger or smaller than a millimeter? Well, a centimeter is bigger and a millimeter is smaller. So it makes sense that it would take more millimeters to make up a centimeter. Okay? So it takes 10 millimeters to make up 1 centimeter. All right, and then, so anytime you're going between units, like if I was going from centi to micro, I would subtract 6 minus 2, so it would be 4 to the right to go from centi to micro. Let's do, I'm going to change this problem because I want to show you something. I'm going to change this to 250 centimeters. Okay? So, centimeters to kilometers. So I'm going over the basic unit. So I'm going to put over here on the same side, subtract. So this is just a summary of what we did here. If you have to skip over basic unit, add. All right, what am I talking about? Let me explain that a little clearer. I'm going from centimeters to kilometers. So I'm going from centimeters, which is 2, to kilometers, which is 3. And my base unit is in between. So what I'm going to do is say 3 plus 2, 5. So I'm going to go 5, and look at where I am on the ladder, 5. To get from centi to kilo, 5 to the left. Okay. All right, I got a lot of moving to do. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm going to have 5 zeros, 5 more zeros. So it's going to be 250. Okay, 25 million kilometers. Okay. So this ladder requires a little bit of practice. And the more you practice this, the easier it's going to become. I'm not going to have you, well, actually I'm going to have, let's do this one. So it does become easier. You just have to practice, practice, practice. And usually what happens is students put in time and then suddenly they get it. So it just requires practice like anything. You know, whether you're trying to learn a new sport, whether you're trying to learn a new language, whether you're trying to learn how to do chemistry, practice. Okay, so 5 and 6 are examples that I have that ask you to compare. And it's hard to compare when you don't have the same unit. So we're going to have to convert centimeters to meters or meters to centimeters, and then we can compare. All right, so let's convert centimeters to meters. So I'm at centi. I need to get to meters. So that's 2 to the left. So 1, 2. So it's 0.56 meters compared to 6 meters. All right, who is larger? 6 is larger, so I'm going to put 2 dots by 6 and 1 dot by 0.56, and then that means that 6 meters is greater than 0.56 meters. It's a little trick I have for you if you have trouble. I know some students have trouble with the inequalities, greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, 7 grams, 698 milligrams. All right, I'm going to convert my milligrams to grams. You could have converted your grams to milligrams. So I'm at milli, and so I'm at 3, and then you go 3 to the left. So it's 0.698 grams compared to 7 grams. Okay, 7 is larger, so it gets 2 dots. 0.698 only gets 1 dot. So I connect those, and 7 grams is greater than 0.698 grams. All right. So on the next page, I have many practice problems, and that's good because you need to practice, practice, practice. One of the first things I have students do is memorize that conversion ladder. When you get your quiz or when you get your exam, it's very helpful to write out the conversion ladder. So you have mega, kilo, base unit, centi, deci, milli, micro, nano. I've had students, and I'm trying to remember this, my kids can't do, I can't remember what students would say, but if there is something funny that you can somehow remember this by, use it. And usually the funnier, the better, the more crazy or outlandish, the better, more memorable. So whenever I'm doing these problems, I write out my conversion ladder first, and I put 6, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. Okay. So first and foremost, we're going to have you write the correct abbreviation for each metric unit. So kilogram. So that's lowercase k, g. So I want you to hit pause, and I want you to work out all the abbreviations for these. It seems like a silly exercise, but it's actually pretty important, especially when you're trying to learn how to convert. Okay, so hopefully you got all those correct. Now we're going to go on to conversion practice. So I want you to hit pause and work through these and use your ladder. It might be that you need more space. It might be that you just need to practice more. And like I said, usually students will get this after a few tries. And once they get it, they've got it, and they're so happy they've gotten it because it makes their lives so much easier. Because I will say, one of the things that I run into teaching Chem 122 is that students get hung up on these conversions, and it becomes this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not good at math. I can't do math. Because I'm not good at math, I can't do well in chemistry. I don't get these conversions. I hate conversions. I hate significant figures. My life is doomed. I'm not going to be able to take this chemistry course. What else can I do? And it's a shame. It always breaks my heart because it's just a matter of practicing and getting a system and building that confidence so that you're not scared to do these math problems. Math is all around us, and it gets a bad reputation. It doesn't have to be horrible. It doesn't have to be unfun. So practice this. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox now. So I want you to work on these, and I will give you the answers in just a second. All right, milligrams to grams, you're going to go 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3, so you'll get 2 grams. 5 liters to milliliters is going to be 3 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, so that'll be 5,000 milliliters. 16 centimeters to millimeters. Centimeters to millimeters, so we're going over the same side. That's going to be oh, my ladder is wrong. Sorry about that. I think I was talking. Deci, centi. Okay. My apologies for the confusion. Okay, 16 centimeters to millimeters, you're going to go from centi to meters. So you're going to go 1 to the right. So it would be 160 millimeters. Okay, 104 kilometers to meters, that's going to be 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 104,000 meters. 198 grams to kilograms, you're going to go 3 to the left. So it will be 0.198 kilograms. Meters to kilometers, 3 to the left. That will be 2.5 kilometers. 480 centimeters to meters, it's going to be 2 to the left. So it's going to be 4.8 meters. 75 milliliters to liters is going to be 3 to the left. So 0.075 liters. 65 grams to milligrams, it's going to be 3 to the right. So 65,000 milligrams. All right, 5.6 kilograms to grams is going to be 3 to the right. So 5,600 grams. Okay, centimeters to meters is going to be 2 to the left. So it's going to be 0.5 meters. 6.3 centimeters to millimeters is going to be 1 to the right. So it's going to be 63 millimeters. 8 millimeters to centimeters. That is going to be 1 to the left. So 0.8. 5.6 meters to centimeters, that's going to be 2 to the right. So you get 560. 120 milligrams to grams is going to be 3 to the left. So 1.12. Okay, now these conversions. Again, I recommend, or these comparisons. Convert first, then compare. So 63 centimeters, convert that to meters, that's going to be 2 to the left. So it's going to be 0.63 meters. So, okay, 5 grams compared to 508 milligrams. So I'm going to convert milligrams to grams, that's going to be, so 0.508 grams. So 1,500 milliliters to 1.5 milliliters. Okay, so I'm going to go 3 to the left to get, so it'll be 1.5 liters. So that's equal. 536 centimeters compared to 53.6 decimeters. And it's centi. To get to deci, I need to move 1 to the left. So that's also equal. All right, 43 milligrams to 5 grams. So milli would be 3 to the left, milli to gram. So 1, 2, 3, so 0.043 grams. 5 grams is definitely greater than that. And then lastly, 3.6 meters compared to 36 centimeters. Centi, it's going to be 2 to the left, centi to meter. So 1, 2, so 0.36. So this is going to be great. So if you're having trouble with these, be sure that you practice, 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 more practice. It never hurts to practice more. So we'll conclude with that. Our next lecture will be over conversion of units. So like feet to inches, millimeters to inches, things like that. So we'll have more fun with math. And I will see you next time.